See it on Netflix. Someone grab it. It's awesome.
You described yourself yesterday in a few interviews as a reluctant activist. I feel no reluctance here today about these messages, but what did you mean by that?
I just mean the industry has been so messed up for so long that to advocate for something that should have been there anyway becomes activism. That seems crazy to me, you know. So it's almost like I think of an activist as something like, you know, bursting in trying to, you know, change the world. And I'm not trying to change the world. I'm just trying to like make it what it was supposed to be. So it feels a little too kind of self-aggrandizing to say that, but I just like I don't like the system as it is, and I never did, and to see it even slowly changing. The big thing is any time any of us get any kind of power, that was probably too grand of a word, but the ability to push stuff forward, to advocate for people and make it happen, we have to do it. I mean, you have to pay it forward that way. And mentorships and all that things are great, and I've done that, you know, where people come to set and all that, but that's only so good. It's only going to happen if we go like, we're creating opportunities. We have to create opportunities for people. And if that means the opportunity is I go in, once I've vetted somebody and know they can do it, because all we have in this business is our reputation, you know, and that's the biggest thing. And a little all over the place, but this thing happens now because I'm part of Women in Film Reframe, which is about, you know, trying to get more gender parity behind and in front of the camera. And to me, the whole purpose of that is just to break the default setting in people's brains of going like, oh, let's hire that guy. Oh, it's a movie about a guy. It's this. Go like, okay, just think, is there a woman you know who could do this? Could this be about it? And it's that sort of banality of not thinking that creates this situation where people just kind of hire the same people over again. They don't challenge themselves to make it about a woman, to make it about a person of color. And so it's really just about kind of changing that mindset and just making people aware of it. And then, so that's just kind of what I feel like that's by creating these opportunities. The other thing is that, especially for female filmmakers, there's so many female filmmakers out there, but the industry is always saying like, well, there's not that many female directors. So like, well, no, there's not that many female directors that you consider to be legitimate, but right. They're there. Right. They just haven't had the chance to do the thing that then makes them legitimate in your eyes. And so that's why we need to advocate and go and, you know, but I can only do it once I go, you know, I need to see that they can do it. So that's why I started this powder keg company, so that, you know, we just did a really successful program of 6 short films called Powder Keg Fuse, and it was 6 short films. The only criteria was like, write us something about LA, something you know about LA that nobody else knows, or part of it you don't know. And out of all these people, we picked these 6 female filmmakers, and again, they crushed it. I mean, we did a screening of all 6 of them at Paramount, and now they're getting inundated with all these meetings. People are meeting with them, and we're setting up how we're going to actually sell the 6 shorts as an anthology. But, you know, again, it created opportunity.
You know, I want to just return to Reframe for a second, because this is the second time it's come up. Sarah Barnett of AMC mentioned it in our conversation here yesterday, and it's, for those of you who don't know, it's a joint venture led by Women in Film, but also with Sundance Institute, to continue these conversations. But there are a lot of these conversations, as we all know. We want more action, more creating of opportunity, and Reframe really has struck on 3 very, very practical ways. Just change the lists that the agents are giving to, you know, to the directors or to the producers. Change the list. Just put a woman's name on the list. It's like the Rooney Rule from football. Just get someone in there who's being considered, and naturally that'll change the atmosphere. So, you know, Reframe, I think it's a couple years old now. It is, you know, somewhat quietly having a real impact, and there's an incredible group of people involved, including Paul and Mike DeLuca and Sundance, Carrie Putnam, a lot of really great people. So, and we're talking about Powder Keg. You have the 6 films. You have East of La Brea, but obviously you wanted to expand beyond, you know, just your brand around women to other kinds of voices as well. But who was your sort of brain trust around Powder Keg, or just kind of how did you get it off the ground originally?
Well, it started with wanting to start like a dedicated like portal or website to get like kind of female short films and just like just a place where they can focus on kind of female filmmakers. And just in talking about it and stuff, it almost felt like, well, is that kind of a limited thing? Like, how's that going to work? And then thinking like, well, no, we should actually do where we can actually get these things made. And so Laura Fisher, I'd done a web series for Yahoo called Other Space, and Laura was one of the people running Yahoo Screen at the time. And I'm so proud of the show. It's free on the internet, Other Space. If you like sci-fi and goofy sci-fi, please look it up. But that completely tanked. That tanked. The whole Yahoo Screen just completely tanked. But Laura was so smart, really got along with her and loved her. And so when I was going to start this, like, Laura should actually run this. So she came on board, and she knows the digital world. She's also creative and knows all that. And so we got with a venture capitalist named Adam Gold, and he put money into this, and that's how we were able to do it. And then the East of La Brea, which is our Muslim American web series that came out of a great program brought to us by this guy named Samir, who it's called Break the Room. And basically what it is, he was a kind of a disaffected writer on sitcoms in Hollywood, and just felt there was no representation in the room. He was the only Muslim American in there, and so he just decided he was going to start this thing. He was going to like find 6 new Muslim American writers, mostly women, and just get them all in a room, and they would just kind of break a web series, just kind of with their common experiences come up with something. And they came up with this East of La Brea, and there were 6 episodes of it. And so then we got it funded. One of the girls in it played as a Lyft driver, so Lyft ended up giving us like $150,000 for the production. It was amazing. And we made this thing on an absolute shoestring with an amazing female director in there, and just it was great, and it came out great. And so now we're just in negotiations of where it's going to be released. But it came out great. And now that Break the Room program is expanding. We just did one for Native Americans. And there's a couple of stars I can't say who want to attach to it because they're diverse and they want to get their story of their background told through the same thing. So I actually think Break the Room is going to really kind of take off and go because it's a great idea. It's a great way to kind of find new writers and voices.
I want to just rewind to something from earlier. That little branding tile, I don't know what the word for it is, for feet.
Logo.
Yeah, the logo, but it's animated. Has her snipping the leaf behind her back at the very end. What's that about? Where did that come from?
Well, it's a painting. One of my favorite painters who I know, actually, is a guy named Danny Galliotti. That's the first painting I ever bought of his.
Oh.
I just liked it, but to me, the message was kind of our company, which is, because, first of all, our company, we always dress really nice. but I just like the idea of, look, we look good, but don't mess with us. So it's kind of the shears behind the back, because, we pride ourselves on being, we're very fair, we're very, honest, but we know what we want. We're tough, and we'll go and protect what we want and get it. So
your partner in running that company for the last several years, Jessie Henderson, just was announced this morning that she's moving on to lead development and production on original film at Warner Media's new streaming service. Very, very big opportunity for her. I'm sure it's bittersweet, but you're seeing another female leader move into an amazing role, and you'll have another buyer.
Exactly. No, she's the greatest. We produced together for coming up on 7 years now. I met her on the Heat. She was working at Peter Chern's company. She had actually found the script for the Heat out of a bidding war and chased it, got it, sent it to me. They didn't know me. It just got sent to me through my agents, and I fell in love with it. Went in, came on board with it, and she was like a creative executive under Jenna Topping. But she was assigned to our movie, so she was always there when we were rewriting, and then she was on the set, and then occasionally she'd get called away, and I'd be like, where'd that woman go? She's so great. And so when I got my deal with Fox after we did The Heat, I was like, I want to bring her on. And I called Peter Chern and said, is this okay? He's like, look, she is so ready to move to this next role. And she was great. We were producing partners on everything since then. But I'm really proud of her because there's a lot of travel in our business, and I think she wanted to be a little more LA based. But it's a great opportunity. She's going to crush it. She's the smartest person I know.
So you've got the show you're already developing for Warner Media with Anna, Love Life. You have your TV first look deal with Lionsgate. Your film partnership is now with Universal after the Disney Fox merger. You made that move. Mm-hmm. You have a lot of different partnerships. a lot of different projects. How are you very hands-on with everything? Are you a decent delegator? How do you balance all of that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm hands-on in making sure what we get is right. You know, to me, it's all about what is the thing you get. That's all my sleepless nights, all my energy goes into what's the new idea, what's the thing that's going to catch on. What do people want to see? What do I think people want to see? That is the hardest thing in the world to know. And all, you know, we're pitching and all that, how hard we are on ideas, but it is because it's a litmus test of like, well, first you go like, oh, well, I like that, but then it's like, wait, will anybody else like that? And it's the hardest thing to know because obviously if we knew, everything would be successful and go through the roof. But so that's, I'm really on that, and then I just always want to quality control it, but I also don't, I've worked with producers who are just like on you, and I don't like that because if I'm on you, I'm forcing my voice on you, and I know my voice, and I'm kind of tired of my voice half the time. You know, I see my, you know, so I'm writing something, I say, oh my god. So, but when I see something new, like fresh, like I you know, from, you know, I remember a few years ago when I saw the pilot for Insecure, I was just like, oh my god, it was so great because they're like, this is just like a world I don't see and with voices I haven't heard, and it was so exciting to me. I go like, I want that experience for, you know, everything I'm doing and people to feel that. So I kind of you hire the best people and you kind of stay out of their way, and then yeah, obviously I'm always reading the stuff and I'm giving my notes and all that, but I really try to not hover because I think that homogenizes things. And again, it takes that exciting quality of a new, fresh voice. And if somebody does something, even in a way that I don't agree with, I'm kind of like, you know what? There's stuff I see that's really successful on the internet and that I go like, I don't get that at all, but it's big, or it really talks to some people. So I'm like, well, that's cool. If somebody likes it and it's reaching somebody, who am I? Who am I to say my taste is better than theirs? It's just as long as it's, you know, as long as somebody likes this, I think that's great.
As long as it's connecting. Do you, and in terms of just how much, like, do you have a sort of ceiling of how many projects you'll be willing to kind of balance at once, or do you keep growing and maybe hire more people? I mean, what's your sort of philosophy on that?
Yeah, I never want to be quantity over quality. I've seen some producers who I like have too many things, and I'll watch it and go like, oh, that's not as good as it could have been. So I'm very cautious about that. So we definitely have a thing in our company like, okay, I think we're kind of full right now. But then if something great comes in, and you're like, okay, then let's figure out how to do this. And then it is, finding the right people. So, you know, and I've gotten much better at realizing, oh, if you really, you know, hire a great showrunner, somebody great that you trust, and have, you know, I have great people in my company. You know, Dan Magnanti's taking over our TV deal for Lionsgate, and we have other people in the company who are stepping up in that way. Then you can just kind of, I want to trust them, and I feel like, let's do it. Because I'd rather have things that, as long as I know they're going to be good and we've quality controlled it, then yeah, let's keep doing it. But again, I don't want to have a bazillion things going on if I can't make sure that they're all good.
What do you make in general of all these mega mergers, all the big new streaming services, all the really